So I guess the first thing I should do is introduce the hand lens. And as you can see here, on another video I kind of showed the happy face, but you can see the actual shadow from the hand lens right there. And it can be adjusted in different ways according to the angle, and intensity of the light coming to it. And so that's an important aspect of ciphering the codes with a light and shadow type tool like this, is you have to have the light intensity and the light angle in just the right place for the shadow to illuminate the words that are intended to be read. And right here is a drawing in the journal that I wrote, a drawing of the hand lens itself and how it fits into the holder. This holder is just a branch off of a tree that grips onto the glass. And when light passes through it, it casts a shadow of the happy face and a few other really interesting things that we'll discuss later on. And just for example, this is what I refer to as a lamb on an altar. Symmetry. And yeah, it delivers some really interesting reads from the biblical text. Just that shadow shape cuts away the text in a way that delivers some astonishing text if you apply it to just the right position in the book. And here's another example. This is a drawing of the canine disc that I used to cipher codes with. Each one of these black spots on here, and the real tool is actually a hole where the words and letters are demonstrated through. And as you turn this on its elliptical path across the page, these holes illuminate letters and words that spell out the code. And this delivers some extraordinary, astonishing text, but they're also astonishingly difficult to comprehend how to get the code. But we'll talk more about the canine discs later on. Right now, in this book that I'm writing, this handwritten book, yeah, I did all the illustrations in it. In this book, I try to demonstrate how the angle of light and the shadow cast on the page all culminate and come together to dissect the letters of the code. And some of the letters can be cut in half even. You know, a B, the letter B can become a C, the letter C, just because the shadow cuts the letter in half. And if you strictly obey those kind of rules when you see them appear in this kind of code, you get a really accurate reading from it. So on this page here, you can see where the light passing through the lens is actually illuminating the keywords that I wanted to use in the cipher. And the cipher actually occurs not in the illuminated part, but actually just this narrow lace of letters that runs around the very edge, the dark shadow. Only those letters that are contained in that is what the code is. And if you transcribe that properly and consider all the letters for what they're supposed to represent, you get a really dynamic and really amazing writ of wisdom, or it could be a prophecy even. You can never really tell, because the most amazing things can emerge from this type of code and cipher. So we're talking about light angles and light intensity and all that. The biblical codec is intended for the reader to use natural sunlight to cipher the codes, especially on days of the solar equinox and the other important sun days. One thing that I thought about was Solomon's ring here, which is a device that can predict when those days are going to happen and even what time of day they'll happen. Which this tool here that you're looking at is real similar to an astrolabe also, but it's actually a close copy of Solomon's ring, the biblical Solomon's ring that was used to plot solar events and planting days and everything, just as it was described in the Bible. And it would have been a tool very much like this 5-ringed tool right here, where the rings all spin inside of each other, and they work together to plot out different aspects of the cosmos and human reality. So one of the most important days is, like the summer solar equinox and the winter equinox. So because this is from ancient Babylon, this glass lens would have been embedded in the wooden handle, or it would have been grown into it. Like this would have been a vine or some kind of strangler fig tree or something like that encapsulates objects really easily. And this glass lens would have been encapsulated in the wood, then cut off of the tree and finely carved into a beautiful hand holder, and then used as a lens like that. And of course this tree ahead, this branch right here, this is the branch that I've been using, and it actually grips onto the glass where it doesn't come loose or anything, and it delivers a very different shadow pattern than what this does. This has a shadow pattern of whatever sort it is, including the bull's head in the center of it. And this here has, of course, a happy face and other shadows. So there's not just one lens that you can use. I mean, there's so many different shapes and configurations that were used to write the Bible CODEC with, that me as a person, I may never discover them all. So what I'd like to do is build a computer program, like what you see on this page right here, where you could select a symmetry type, adjust the size of it, adjust the transparency, the object axis, the light intensity, invert the pages, and manipulate the stuff, like locate certain words, and then capture that into a file where it could be scrutinized later on. I think it would be such a great idea. And if the computer program had the look of someone reading it off of an ancient papyrus or something, I mean, it would be yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? But actually it could just be any like academic format, but something elegant like this would be nice, so it kind of, I don't know, feel like a game almost. Because Ha-ND should be enjoyable, not something that frustrates you and makes you mad. It's supposed to be your greatest joy and elation. That's what I find it to be. So as I contemplate all these things, I look back at people like Sir Isaac Newton that spoke about this very subject, and George Washington that had his experience that he spoke so highly of, and allegedly became a member of the Illuminati because of it. Yeah, this is intriguing stuff, and I'm very happy to be able to share it. I'm Eugene Runkus. Thank you for watching the CODEC News. This has been the Daily Deint.